being it's the 4th of July, do you have any thoughts on how economics was involved in the American Revolution, like, say, the tax on tea?
Well, I've written a couple times on that the battles we have today about taxes, just go back 200 and some years and you'll find the same battles back then. And the consequences of taxation are the same today as they were 200 and some years ago. And it was an economic struggle as much as it was a matter of human rights. The economic basis of the Revolutionary War was very clear, and yet, for obvious sort of mythological reasons, we don't focus on the economics of it. But at its core, it was essentially an economic, an awakening to the power of freedom in commercial transactions.
Well, you could say the same about the Civil War. Clearly, the Civil War was an economic war, not over slavery, which, I mean, that was a part of it, but in my view, not the principal part.
Right. No, it was really a matter of contending for resources, and I think if you looked at most wars around the world over history, there's an economic component, if not a primary cause. The troubles in Ireland, for instance. Northern Ireland stayed separate because Britain didn't want to lose all those shipbuilding facilities and resources in Northern Ireland. So, economics is at the heart of a lot of things, which is another reason why the media, I think, really needs to shape up on understanding this stuff. Because, sure, they'll report a poll or they'll talk about a quote from somebody, but, for instance, this housing crisis that we keep hearing about, if they understood economics a little bit, they'd realize that the housing crisis has its roots in a badly set up system back in the 70s called the Community Reinvestment Act, where the government basically told bankers, go out and invest and loan to people who can't pay you back. And, that's sort of we're getting the natural fallout now. And they're not going to repeal that act because it affects the poor or so forth. But the economic causes of the crisis are clear if you understand it. And clearly, there's not much of that out there.
Let me ask you one question, which is off the beaten track from what you came on the program for.
Sure.
You worked on the Hill, and we're kind of talking on this program about the late Jesse Helms,
right?
And wanted your thought. When you worked on the House side, what impact do you think that Helms had overall?
Well, clearly he was a standard bearer of the conservative movement, and the person I worked for, Duncan Hunter, I think was solidly in the Reagan camp and so forth. And I was listening to some of your remarks about Mr. Helms, and I had a chance a couple times to interview him and know other people that have interviewed him, and all your remarks about his courtliness and his gentlemanliness came home, because that's the only way I ever saw him, is just as a gentleman. But in terms of his impact, I mean, the Reagan Revolution would have been far weaker without his input and persistence, because he actually, and I don't know that he relished it, but he was a lightning rod for all the criticism, and that allowed other people to do the grunt work and get it done. And I think, and he was obviously a tremendous spokesman for conservative traditional values. And, you cannot gauge how much impact he has. It's sort of tough to quantify. But without him, we would not be where we are today.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Warden. I wish you the best with your school. And I'm delighted to know about it. It's my fault, but I wasn't acquainted with it, but I sure am now, and I'm going to tell lots of people about it. So we hope to talk to you again sometime.
Very good. Thanks. Great talking with you, sir.